Napakarami ng kasalanan sa atin ng ating presidente. Kaya minsan naisip ko kung minamalas nga ba tayo o sineswerte. Tayo nga ba'y nagsisisi sa pagpili sa kanya bilang presidente o baka hindi lang tayo sanay na may opisyales tayo na disente? Kasi yung dating talamak na laglagbala sa naiya, simula nang maupo siya halos lahat ay nawala na. At yung mga kabataan na dati ay lulong sa droga, andun na sa computer shop, nag-a-addict na lang sa Dota. Kasalanan ni Duterte yan kung anong meron ngayon sa bansa natin, kung bakit ang bilis maghatid ng tulong sa mga biktima ng bagyong Lawin. Kasalanan ni Duterte yan kung bakit di na tayo kontrolado, hindi na tayo hawak sa leeg ng mga Amerikanong abusado. Kung di ka naniniwala sa kanya, ikaw ay may utak na makitid. Kung hindi dahil sa kanya, tuloy pa rin ang kalokohan sa bilibid. Kasalanan ni Duterte yan kung bakit nakakatulog ka na ng maayos dahil yung mahilig mag-video okay alas 10 na natatapos. Hindi na mahirap humingi ng tulong sa oras ng kalamidad, nandyan na po ang 911 at ang magagandang pasilidad. Nasayang nga ba ang boto mo dahil ikaw ay napasubo? O nanghihinayang ka lang sa tropa mo dahil isa sila sa adik na napasuko? Siya po ang tunay na may malasakit dahil mas pinili niyang maging makasalanan. Hindi niya inisip ang sarili, makamtan lang natin ang kapayapaan. Kung hindi ka man natutuwa, huwag ka na lang sanang magreklamo. Kahit anong ayaw mo sa tao, nakikinabang ka pa rin sa pagbabago. Kung ganyan ba naman ang kasalanan, mas gugustuhin ko nang maging apektado nang dahil sa kanyang katapangan, ang bansa natin ay respetado. Ngayon alam ko na tayo talaga ay sineswerte dahil may anghel na hulog ang langit, walang iba kundi si Duterte.
With the life, we see it with the activity, we see it with the modern lifestyle of the Filipinos happening in this new development.
We're always stuck in traffic. We're stuck in a lot of congestion. And the way to decongest out of Metro Manila and empower the rest of the country is to give back time to our people.
Reinventing Clark, turning the former American base into a world-class site called the New Clark City. And later, a humanoid robot that can do backflips. That's for today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. After the success of Bonifacio Global City, the base's Conversion and Development Authority is now setting its sight in Central Luzon. It's a 9,000-hectare project, twice the size of Quezon City, and it's called the New Clark City. I sat down with BCDA President and CEO Vince Dizon, and he says it's a city that's masterfully planned with enough green spaces where one can live and work better.
The misconception about Clark is that Clark is just the former military airbase of the Americans. Actually, that portion, which we now call the Clark Freeport Zone in the Clark International Airport, is just a fraction of the entire area of Clark. The entire area of Clark is 31,000 hectares. To put that in perspective, that's half of Metro Manila, Pinky. And the main zone where we are now, where the airport is, where the Freeport is only 4,400 hectares out of the 31,000. So it's barely 12%. So what we want to do, what the vision of the Duterte administration for Clark is, this we believe will be the symbol of the modern Philippines that we want to happen. It's going to be a symbol of modernity, of economic prosperity, of inclusivity, of equality.
You're talking about what, 31,000 plus hectares?
Yes.
Buong Clark.
Buong Clark.
Can you give me its composition?
Yes. So the area that's already built up, that's already developed, where the former U.S. Air Base used to be, is about 4,400 hectares. It's divided into two, basically. Half of that, or about 2,400 hectares, is reserved for the airport. The remainder, about 2,000 plus hectares, is the Freeport, where the likes of Texas Instruments, Samsung, Yokohama, and now we have a new city that we're building here. It's called Clark Global City. It's already built up. Medical City is there already. One of the premier hospitals in the country is there. And we have 2 new, very modern buildings that are going to house BPOs and other offices.
Let's talk about the airport. What can we expect from the international airport?
You know, the airport in Clark is our biggest airport facility in the country. It's 2,400 hectares. And the infrastructure is already there. It was developed for us during the time of the Americans. All we had to do is rehabilitate a little bit after Mount Pinatubo and then maintain it well. Yeah. It's a huge airport, and the runways and the taxiways, the tarmac is all world class. Right now it has 1 major runway, but just to give you some trivia about that runway was built in 1990 by the United States. And did you know that it was so well built that it was designed to be an alternative landing site for their space shuttle program?
So what can we expect from this new airport?
Okay, we're right now in the process of bidding out the new terminal, which is going to be a world-class and a very, very big terminal. It's approximately about 85,000 square meters.
Is it going to be the biggest terminal in the Philippines, you think?
It's going to be slightly smaller than NAIA 3.
Okay.
But it's going to be definitely bigger than NAIA 1 and NAIA 2. But it's going to be designed by world-class designers. Let's face it, you know, NAIA is really bursting at the seams right now. It's operating at way, way over capacity. And obviously the traffic is, you know, horrendous there. And the Department of Transportation, under the leadership of Secretary Tugade, is in the process of building our Manila to Clark Railway.
When is that? When is the completion of that?
I think the target of Secretary Tugade is sometime in 2021, so towards the tail end of the president's term.
Okay, but let me go back to the airport. So very interesting. When is its completion, and how many passengers are you expecting to be coming in and out of this airport?
In total, the capacity is for more than 8 million passengers per year. That's for the first terminal, the first expansion that we're building. And completion will be first quarter of 2020.
You have this project
Yes.
that you are launching, and it's called the New Clark City.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
New Clark City is our most ambitious project to date because it's a greenfield project. We're building it where there is nothing there right now. This could be the benchmark for future cities in the country. We're benchmarking this city with cities like Incheon in South Korea, Songdo in South Korea, with Suzhou in China, Tianjin in China, Yokohama in Japan. And this is why, to get the best, we have to work with the best. And this is why we've partnered with Japan, with the Japan Overseas Network for Infrastructure Development, and with other premier master planners and developers like AECOM. And it's being planned so that we don't experience, even 30 years, 40 years, 50 years from now, the problems we're experiencing in other cities in the country, like Metro Manila, like Cebu, and all the other urban centers. It's really planned to be a city for the people. A lot of open spaces, a lot of green spaces, a lot of parks where people can walk, bring their families, ride their bikes to work. You don't really have to drive. There's efficient mass transport there. And it's going to be built from the very beginning. We want to connect it to mass transport connected to Metro Manila and other parts of Luzon. That's why the Manila-Clark Railway is going to go into New Clark City as well.
We took a helicopter to look at this New Clark City, and describe to us so far.
What's
it's
there?
just really, it's really right now just
Greenfield. It's all green fields right now. The only things present there now are the roads that we're building.
Yeah, and there were 2 roads.
There are 2 roads. There's a 7-kilometer road that leads to SCTEX. So if you're on SCTEX, you're in New Clark City in less than 5 minutes. And there's a direct road to the airport. when it's all done, they're in all likelihood going to be the best roads in the country.
How do you foresee this developing in the next couple of years?
We feel that we can finish the first phase within the president's term, meaning by 2022, we're done with phase 1. However, by December of 2019, we will actually be hosting some of the events for the Southeast Asian Games in that area. We're going to be building 2 facilities, an athletic stadium and an aquatic center. So together with a couple of just a few retail areas and a beautiful park, that's going to be the beginning of New Clark City.
Not to mention also there's supposed to be 1 office building.
Yes, there's going to be 1 or 2 office buildings for the initial government offices that will be moving there. Because as you know, the president has mandated that government offices start moving out of Metro Manila as part of his efforts to decongest.
Yeah.
Once this new city is built, especially phase 1, most likely a lot of government offices will actually be lining up to be in that city.
Designed, who are the people helping
The
you?
master planner is AECOM and Nippon Koi of Japan. So AECOM based out of Singapore and Nippon Koi based out of Tokyo. And for some of the facilities like the stadium and the aquatic center, we've tapped one of the best designers in the country, Royal Pineda of Buji Royal.
Mr. Dizon, just to summarize, New Clark City, how can you attract people to look into this and want to work here or live here?
I think the main attraction will be how the city will be, how the city will be built. You know, in Metro Manila, we're obviously suffering from congestion all the time, traffic. There's practically no green space in Metro Manila anymore. This is going to be totally different. It's going to be, can you imagine, Pinky, just being 10, 12 minutes from the international airport? That is going to be a huge attraction for people and for businesses and for companies to locate.
Is it going to be better than BGC?
I must say it will be. It will be better. Just because it's, I think, going to be planned better and it's going to give more back to the people.
This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Coming up, how will the new Clark City look like? We'll show you when we return. And later, a robot that decongest Metro Manila. Apart from state-of-the-art infrastructure and housing projects, the city will also be the home of the 2019 Southeast Asian Games. I sat down with Sylvester Wong of ACOM and Royal Pineda of Buji Royal Architecture and Design, 2 of BCDA's partners in developing the new Clark City. They told us what Filipinos can expect in this world-class project that can definitely become the city of the future.
You know, New Clark City is so exciting because it's the first time with a blank slate that we can create a whole new integrated place for Philippines. And it's a city that has renewable power, it's got greenways, it's got so many amazing places for people to live and to work.
What about you, Royal? How do you foresee it? Remember when we were in the chopper and then we went down and I saw just so much green and there was so much excitement in your eyes.
We see it with people. We see it with the life. We see it with the activity. We see it with the modern lifestyle of the Filipinos happening in this new development. And that really excites us.
So can we talk specifics? Please go ahead and tell me more about the kind of structures we're going to see in the first phase of the new Clark City.
You know, the first phase is so important because it sets the tone for everybody else, right? And so I think having public uses, a new stadium, new government center, all surrounding a beautiful park for the people, that creates a really integrated society.
New stadium, when you talk about that, Royal, you have much to say about that.
Yeah, well, it's going to be for this coming SEA Games. And we believe that the eyes of the whole region will be on the Philippines. And we believe that it's really about time to present the modern sensibility of the Filipinos. And the way we're doing it is like we got inspired with Pinatubo, the caldera of the Pinatubo. That's why the stadium creates this beautiful, silhouettes of the crater. The lahar becoming the new fiber of the city, the skin of the architecture. And the frames are actually the bones of the paroles. So we're quite excited because we'll be the one to unveil this.
Yes. So we have at least the first phase. We have a stadium, we have a government office. What else? There are other establishments that should be built in the next 2 years.
Housing, education, transportation hubs, all these little pieces that make a full city.
What excites you about this project, Sylvester?
I think the immense scale of it, especially how it's important to the whole country in its competitiveness, not just in terms of global economy, but in terms of what it gives back to society and to Pampanga and to Tarlac.
What about you?
Well, I'd like to add for another extra architecture that we have here, which is quite another icon for this area, which is the Aquatic Center. And again, we always say that we want to put art in everything that should happen in this development. So why do we need to put art? Because we believe that there should be a pulse. There should be life in everything that we create here. So either it's an architecture, either it's a park, or an art installation. And the thing that really makes me excited is it's just that we're doing a total environment here. What we're really getting now is a global audience, because we believe that this is going to be a main event for the Philippines, because it's not going to be a mediocre city. We want to make sure that it's going to be a new benchmark for the Philippines.
I think very exciting is 2019. You both mentioned the SEA Games, so the new Clark City will not be fully operational. That's in 2019, but a part of it, obviously. That's something everybody should be looking forward to, and this will showcase the new Clark City during the SEA Games.
Yes.
Yeah, the SEA Games themselves are a great way to let the whole world know that the Philippines is leading the way when it comes to future-proofing its societies. I mean, being sustainable and resilient, having smart cities, being very livable. I mean, these are all what global cities try to aim for. I think we have a real chance here to, harness all the energy locally and internationally toward an integrated future city.
Isn't it so exciting that you're, well, I'm sure you're used to it, but really beginning a project from ground up with everything in mind, keeping everything in mind, the kind of life that will be sustained in a city like this?
Yes.
What's wonderful about this is, although the ground is quite open, and you still see the sense of the sky and the trees and the water that's around, it's also backed up by a lot of experience. I mean, BCDA has done BGC, there's a lot of success in bringing investors in, and you've got SE Techs and other types of infrastructure that's been built, and you've got the airport right next to it. So when you put all these things together, it's kind of this migration from location to connectivity.
Probably one of your most exciting project, Royal, so far?
I would really say it is, because again, it's nation building. It is not just about doing a project. It is about creating a vision for the country itself. And I think as Buji Royal is a total design company, so it's all about totality. So that's what we're saying, like collaborating with ACOM and everybody, BCDA, the government. It is about trying to dig into the deepest identity that we have as Filipinos. And we, Buji Royal, are trying to do that to really reach the point of authenticity.
When I talk to you, I really feel and see so much pride in you being part of this project. As a last question, I wanted to ask you both, If you were to sell this to somebody, what would be New Clark City's selling point? Sylvester, I'll start with you.
You know, at AECOM, when we do a lot of these master plans around the world, and when we try to integrate connectivity and transport and city building and societies, it usually comes down to time. And here we are discovering time again. We're giving time back to the people by making things walkable, by bringing uses and economies together. So I think and we need so much more of it here in the Philippines, right? We're always stuck in traffic. We're stuck in a lot of congestion. And the way to decongest out of Metro Manila and empower the rest of the country is to give back time to our people and our investors. And that's what New Clark City means for us.
Well, I think the way to sell this is simple. And it's about the people. And if we constantly refer to people and nature itself, wherein we have a beautiful land, you know, the terrain, the background, and if we celebrate the people itself, we present that variety to the world, that the Filipinos being modern, and the land itself being progressive with the development of the architecture, the planning, the permeability of this architecture, and the planning of the urban planning of it, the infrastructure itself. I believe that it will sell its own uniqueness. The rest is about